The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. And no one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? You say it's very hard to leave behind the life we knew. But there's no other way, and now it's really up to you. Love is the key we must turn. Truth is the flame we must burn, and freedom the lesson we must learn. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? La 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 la. La 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 la.
Thank you, Jean. So beautiful, and what a way to begin. Love. Love is the answer. And welcome, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today, those of you who are here with us in person, those of you who are online with us. We are the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, teaching the science of mind so that we can all live better lives and contribute to a world that works for everyone. My name is Marilyn O'Leary. I'm a practitioner here. Others helping today in service, our tech team, Annette Martinez and Mike Hacker. Our greeters, Carmela Herrera, Carol Helms, Doug Bowe, and Carol Ann Armijo. The bookstore is staffed by Leni Munkin and Gilbert. Our musician is Jean Corbin. And on High Watch, at home are Kathy Mathiasen, Teresa Grieco, and emeritus practitioners Julia Washington and Levator Jones, among other dedicated practitioners. And our invocation and benediction are offered by practitioner Carol Helms this morning. Our talk is delivered by our very own interim minister, Reverend Karen Lindsley. Her talk is entitled, Go Get the Squirrel. Don't you wonder what that's about? Go get the squirrel. So I'm excited to hear that. So this morning, I've asked Annette if she could put up for us our Sacred Covenant prayer, because in essence, it's our mission. It's where we are now. It's where we are now, and this is the prayer that we want to say. So please say the Sacred Covenant with me. And I want to tell you before we start that The Sacred Covenant was the covenant that I think you all know was developed as we did our Sacred Covenant process, our co-creation process. We say searching for our new minister, but I think really we are revealing that new minister, that senior minister to us. And I want everybody to know that we are doing so well with all of the material that we have to do. It's a lot of job. It's a lot of work. It's kind of a big job, but we have people doing a wonderful job for us. And we now have our center profile that's filed. That means people can look at it through the confidential portal at CSL. And we also have a video that's filed with that so people can get an idea of Albuquerque and who we are. And that video is available on our website. So if you want to see some of the work that we have been doing, go ahead to that. Go and look on the website at that video. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Tamara and Carmela, for doing that. It's been absolutely wonderful. And Lou Similari has been working on that too. You'll hear his voice. It's really lovely. So let's say this prayer now. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to glorify God, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as unity. I further know that my new minister is a fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unifying and growing our community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live in unity as an expression of wholeness and love. I am encouraging and supporting spiritual growth, awakening the wisdom within me. I am serving as a healer to all, applying the power of love, wisdom, and unity. I am generating engagement of the community in mystical studies and spiritual teachings. I am collaborating with community organizations, working in service of a world that works for everyone. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will glorify God and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, so be it now. Amen. Thank you for saying this powerful prayer with me, and we ask you to say this prayer on a daily basis so that it works and it provides our energy in revealing our new minister to us. We will now have our invocation given by practitioner Carol Helms.
Good morning, beautiful community. That sounds better in person than typing in the chat box on Facebook, or on our YouTube. But it's a glorious morning to be alive and to be here, don't you think? Yeah. Taller, taller, closer, closer. I'm here. All right. This is a great morning to say yes to Spirit, to say yes to our center, to say yes to each other, to say yes, God. I was born here to say yes. I lost that somewhere, but it's coming back. And what a glorious, glorious resurrection of positive energy. I say yes to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. I say yes to our new minister who's out there right now. I'm excited about that. I give myself spiritual goosebumps with that. I'm excited when we say our affirmation of the work that's gone into sending that vibration out to the right person to come, unite, and lead us. So grateful for this morning, the sun, the rain off and on through this season. So grateful for the very breath of life. I'm grateful for all the people behind the scenes to make our services work and to draw more people to us. I thank the sound and tech people who are just amazing at what they do. I'm so grateful for our musicians. And this morning's song, what a beautiful start to our day, to our service. I'm looking forward to the squirrel story, and I'm looking forward to letting the squirrel within me loose to see what happens in my life. So it's going to be a beautiful, blessed service. I honor all who are here, either virtually, in person, or just by the vibrations. And so I release this service to the very good that God is, and to the very good that we need in our individual and collective consciousness. And so it is.
Thank you, Carol. Our spiritual reading today is from this thing called Life, one of my favorite books by Ernest Holmes. And it's from chapter 2. Jesus was a happy and radiant soul. He was triumphant. He said, I have come that ye might have joy. I have come that ye might have peace. I have come that ye might have life. Blessed are they who do hunger and thirst after the truth, for they shall find it. And when someone asked him, what is the truth? He answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. What I am, you may become. That's what Christ is to us. He said, if you wish to do what I am doing, follow the simple truths I have given you. I have told you that the kingdom of God is at hand. You do not see it because you are filled with fear. Your eyes are so filled with tears that you cannot see. Your ears are so dulled with confusion that you cannot hear. Your minds are so weighted down with doubt that you cannot understand. What was his remedy for all this? Open your spiritual eyes. Listen with the inner ear. Open your minds. What is it that we are to open our eyes, our ears, and our minds to? What is it that we must see, hear, and understand? It is something Jesus learned through silent communion with life. The inward ear of Jesus was in tune with the divine harmony. His inward eye looked upon a spiritual universe. His human consciousness was transmuted into divine understanding as he sought for and found his union with life. Now, let's turn our attention to our wonderful musician, Gene Corbin.
Thank you. I don't want to be black. I don't want to be white. I want to walk in the sun of a brand new world. I'm thinking that I just might. I don't want to be left. I don't need to be right. I want to wake up in the morning to a brand new world, see it in a brand new light. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. Hey, sometimes I want to be just a little boy. You could be a little girl, where no doors are locked and no guns are cocked and no battle flags unfurled. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. be a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew. And I don't want to be like anybody else. I guess I'll be me and you be you. I don't want to be a hero, and I don't want to be free. If that means taking it away from you so they can give it to me. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. Sometimes I want to be just a little boy, and you could be a little girl, where no doors are locked and no guns are cocked and no battle flags unfurled. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. Don't want to bring you up, don't want to bring you down. I don't want to keep you in the dark, I only want to turn you around. I don't want to be a hero, and I don't want to be free. If that means taking it away from you so they can give it to me. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. Sometimes I want to be just a little boy, you could be my little girl, where no doors are locked and no guns are cocked and no battle flags unfurled. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. With all the people in Africa, citizens. All the children in Bosnia, citizens. All the women in old Bombay, and all my brothers in East LA. There will be no lines drawn in the sand when we reach that promised land. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. I want to be a citizen of a brand new world. Thank you. I'll pass that applause along to my friend Nathan, who wrote that. The guy is a wizard with words. Thanks. I'm glad you appreciate it.
Thank you, Gene. That was absolutely a wonderful, wonderful song. So thoughtful and so well sung. We're very happy to have Reverend Karen, our interim minister, with us again this morning. Reverend Karen, as you may know, became a practitioner in 2008 and then a minister in 2014. And her mission in life is to teach practical application of science of mind principles to provide a strong and unshakable inner foundation that facilitates long-term successful living. To do this, she serves as spiritual leader of CSL Carson City, a virtual teaching chapter. She also produces a podcast called Fearlessly Feral Living and is the author of 2 books. In addition, and most importantly for all of us, she serves as our interim minister here. We are, and this is what she's going to talk about today. We are collectively and sometimes personally experiencing more uncertainty, doubt, sadness, and anguish than we ever have before. This is the perfect time to pause for guidance. But are we really taking the time to stop and listen to what our guidance is really saying? Or are we just thinking in the same ways over and over again, expecting to get different results? This week, we are being called to rise and emerge, which means we are being called to change our thinking in greater ways than we ever have before. Reverend Karen.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's so lovely to see all of you this morning. And I'm very happy to be here. And as Marilyn mentioned, yes, our global theme for this month is a pause for guidance. And this week, our theme is rise and emerge. And I was having a chat with one of my prayer partners, another minister, last week. And my dog let me know that it was time to go outside and chase the squirrel. And so I opened the door while I was on the phone with my prayer partner, and I told her, wait just a minute, I got to let the dog out. And as I opened the door, I said, go get the squirrel. And she said, wow, that's a wonderful title for a talk. So that's how the title for this talk was born. And I think that this going, and my dog, she just like got up. I think this going to get the squirrel thing can be a wonderful metaphor for us in life. So let me give you a little background before I get to the metaphor. I have a dog named Annie, and I have a resident squirrel whom I have not named because I want this resident squirrel to go away. He causes a lot of trouble. But squirrels are stubborn and wily, and they're not inclined to go away once they set up house. And it doesn't seem to matter, no matter how many times I fill up his house with water or dirt, and I've tried both, he just redigs and settles in. He's pretty stubborn. And when he is out and about during the day, doing squirrely things, and one of those squirrely things is he will come right up to the sliding glass door and tease my dog. My dog wants to go out and get the squirrel. She never gets the squirrel. And I got to thinking about that because this dog is wicked fast. She's fast. I've seen her race cars. Now, assuming that the cars that drive by my house are going the speed limit, which is 25 miles per hour, Annie's faster than that. She always wins. I've seen her race dogs. We have some dogs that live next door, and they like to race each other up and down. Their dog's on one side of the fence and Annie on our side of the fence. And she beats them like by yards every time. I have a friend who's got a greyhound named Blue, and she may or may not be listening today, but I'd love to see Annie and Blue have a race because I think Annie could give that greyhound a run for her money. Or his money. So anyway, Annie tries to catch this squirrel, but she never ever succeeds. So how is this a metaphor for us here? The squirrel, I think, or not catching the squirrel is a metaphor. Well, the squirrel itself is a metaphor. The metaphor is we finally reached that enlightened place. You know, the Buddhists like to speak of enlightenment. And they say you're enlightened when you do so many things. I think an enlightened place is where we no longer experience limitation. I think an enlightened place is where we don't regret our past, where we no longer allow our past to affect our present day decisions, where we rise and emerge victorious from all the battles of life, perhaps a bit scarred, but at peace. I think that being enlightened means we don't anymore have tissue issues. There are no more tissue issues. We don't have triggers. We no longer argue for our limitations by playing small. I think that is the symbol, the metaphor that we can look at for a squirrel, because squirrels live large and they do what they do no matter what. So we've got this squirrel and we've got this dog trying to catch the squirrel, and she never catches the squirrel. And I think Annie could catch that squirrel if she wanted to. I think we could catch the squirrel, but I think we've got some stuff in the way. I think we have some work to do in order to catch the squirrel. And this is not about doing the same thing over and over again. It is still, we've always got to treat, we've always got to pray. That affirmative prayer that we say at the beginning of every service and at the end of every service, we've always got to do that stuff. We've always got to move our feet. We have a saying around here, treat and move your feet. We've always got to do that. But if we're doing that and nothing is changing, if we're not getting the squirrel, we need to do something a bit more. And we might say, well, I'm trying. One of my favorite teachers is Master Yoda. Yep, Star Wars. He says, there is no try. Do or do not, but no try. My point here is that if we keep treating and having faith and trying and wanting to change, and change does not occur, might it be possible that we are going about this in a way that is counterproductive to our greatest good? Might it be possible that instead of being called to do more, we're being called to be something different? Not just do, but be. I think that's where we can actually get the squirrel. Getting the squirrel is a metaphor for us not getting something out there, but getting something within each and every one of us. We're being called not to catch some outer thing, but instead to change who and what we are at deep and profound ways. I really believe that. I believe that is the ultimate catching of the squirrel. And you know, these are hard times here. Some folks are talking about the end of days. I've heard the word apocalypse a lot lately. And I got to thinking about this word apocalypse. I kind of like the word. And I got to thinking about the four horsemen. And I know there's a name for them in the Bible, but I gave them my own name. I call them the 4 Ds: dismay, disappointment, distrust, and despair. And I know that it is easy to sink down into that way of living right now because there's so much disappointment. There's so much stuff going on that we can do nothing, seemingly do nothing about. Out here in my neck of the woods, we've got fires. We had another earthquake the other day. We've got smoke that's preventing us from getting outside and doing what we want to do. We've got ways of thinking that are keeping our pandemic going. It's easy to get disappointed. It's easy to begin to distrust. It's easy to despair. It's easy to feel dismay. And there's a certain element of that that says, oh yeah, you know, times are so tough right now and I'm hanging in there, but I'm feeling all these 4 Ds. And there's a certain element of that that kind of strokes our ego a little bit and says, yeah, I'm still hanging in there. I'm still doing good, even though I disapprove highly of all this stuff that's going on. And I think that limits us. I think what we need to do is replace those 4 Ds with assurance and success and faith and joy. I think that is how we rise and emerge victorious. That is how we catch the squirrel. And it boils down to something that is repeated over and over and over again in this teaching. Change our thinking and change our lives. It always comes back to us, never them. It always begins within, never out there. I tell the people that I work with that if you're speaking about anything that has to do with them or he or she or third person people or things out there, you're living in the problem. The solution lies within us always. It always begins within. And we need to remember that there are 2 basic parts of us. There's our human selves, and then there's our spiritual selves. And no, they are not separate. They are one. We are one with spirit. But sometimes I think we allow our human selves to speak just a bit louder than our spiritual selves. Sometimes I think we allow our human selves to be at the forefront of our lives. And we need to remember that ultimately who and what we really are spiritual beings. Ernest Holmes says the first step for you to take involves becoming aware that you already have the God qualities you wish to cultivate and experience in everyday life. And so in this case, my God qualities are assurance, success, faith, and joy. And what he's saying is they are already within us. But sometimes our humanity, our thinking, those minds, you know, those brains we've got up there, they get in the way with that, of that. And we have to change our thinking. We're taught that in order to change our lives, we have to change our thinking. And here's where I think it goes deeper. Here's where I think we progress from spirituality 101 to something much, much deeper. We're also being called to change our beliefs. We're being called to change some of our values, maybe. We are being called to change our personalities and our consciousness. That's what we're being called to do. Not just our thinking, but our personalities. You know, in the 12-step world, the 12th step, when you get through all 12 steps at the end, it says we have a spiritual awakening in order to recover. Now, traditionally, spiritual awakenings have always been compared to that burning bush experience that Moses had in the Bible. You know, he was out there and he had the bush was burning and he wasn't seeing or feeling the fire. And the burning bush is a sign of difficulties ahead. And seeing the bush but not the burn is a sign of faith. That's all very well and good. But I think there's more. We can have faith till the cows come home. But if we don't effect inner change in our lives on very deep levels, nothing's going to change in our outer world. And that's a guarantee. We have enough faith. I know you guys. I know you all. I've been there. I've met you all. You guys have enough faith. Again, I think that's spirituality 101, and I expect, so much more from all of you, because I know you are capable of it. So if we follow the breadcrumbs of this spiritual awakening thing in 12-step wisdom, we discover that a spiritual awakening is actually a personality change sufficient to bring about recovery. So if you're not in recovery, and even if you are, because those personality changes, if we're doing our work at deep, deep levels, they continue. And we have spiritual awakenings or personality changes sufficient to change our lives in deep and wonderful ways. And if we change our lives, and if enough of us change our lives, then we're going to be able to change that stuff out there. So I think all these challenges we're experiencing, all this dismay and disappointment and despair that we are experiencing is a call for us to go deeper and change who and what we are and how we show up in the world. I think that's what Catching the Squirrel is all about. Now, is that easy? No. More people than not will balk at this. More people than not will say, nope, not going to do there. Not going to go there. I've done it. I've done enough. I've changed enough. I've taken enough classes. I've done enough work. I don't need to change anymore. And that's okay. But I happen to think there's more. There's better. I happen to think that kind of thinking gets us stuck and keeps us stuck. Michael Singer has a book out called The Untethered Soul. If you've never read it, I highly advise it. He said it's hard to understand how we decided that avoiding our inner issues is an intelligent thing to do. If you truly want to grow spiritually, you'll realize that keeping your stuff is keeping you trapped. When we keep our stuff, we keep ourselves trapped. I'm seeing this trappedness in the divisiveness that we've got in our country. I see it in people. I see it in a lot of places where we just simply either cannot or will not grab hold of something that allows us to be different, to show up different, to change at very fundamental levels. And I've had conversations with people. I once knew someone, and we were having a chat. We were walking on the beach one morning. And I said, do you think we can change at fundamental levels? Do you think we can have a spiritual awakening that it talks about in recovery, personality change? And he said, no, I don't believe that. That man's dead today because he did not believe that he could change at very deep and fundamental levels. He's not the only one I've known who has literally died because he did not believe he could change at deep and fundamental levels. He did not believe it was possible to have a personality change. Now, it doesn't get that deep, that it's not a life or death issue for a lot of us, but it's big, it's huge, it's important. And there's a way to tell if you're at that stuck level. If the same things keep happening over and over and over again, if we keep having the same things happen, and we keep having problems with relationships, we keep having problems with one particular family member, and they never go away. We never seem to be able to get the job we want. We never seem to be able to do the things we want to do. Or we get just so far in life and then we bump up against a glass ceiling. And guess what? That glass ceiling is installed by ourselves, not by someone else. It's installed by ourselves. So if we keep experiencing those same issues over and over and over again, that's a good sign that we need to change at those deep fundamental levels where our personality and our consciousness lives. In order to rise and emerge from whatever muck we find ourselves in, we must change at those fundamental levels. So if you really, really want to get the squirrel, we've got some tools around here. We've got lots of tools. I spoke of self-awareness already. And you know, we teach how to nurture and develop self-awareness. We teach it in our classes. We teach it in our workshops. We even have a name for it. We call it sacred study. It's named as a spiritual practice. There's one class here that came out a couple years ago in the new curriculum. It's called Spiritual Principles and Practices. And if you're old school religious science, you know there's only two spiritual practices if you're old school religious science. There's meditation and treatment, and that's it. That's all we got. Well, I'm here to tell you there is more. There's still validity in meditation and treatment. I use them all the time. I meditate every day. I treat several times a day, many times a day. I do it all the time. It's an ingrained part of me. There's validity in those practices, but there's more. The Spiritual Principles and Practices class lists 8 spiritual practices. Personally, I found 13. If you want to know what they are, call me later. But these are the practices listed in the class. This is a good start to getting the squirrel. Treatment, practicing the presence, direct revelation, self-awareness, gratitude, compassion, intentional manifestation, and sacred study. So that's all wonderful stuff. Don't let that practice called self-awareness. Don't trap yourself. Don't fall into that trap of thinking, I have enough self-awareness now, thank you very much. There's always more. There's always more. If we find ourselves in a place of thinking where it's good enough, we've done enough, we don't need to take any more classes, we don't need to do that in our work anymore, we've done the work, that's a trap. That's how we do not catch the squirrel. If stuff happens in our life, it's just life happening. Our job is just to hang on for the ride and do the best we can. It is what it is. I can't tell you how much I dislike that statement, by the way. It is what it is. I just don't like that statement at all. Anyway, the way we rise and emerge, the way we catch the squirrel is through those spiritual practices. And I think self-awareness is one of the biggies in this particular thing we're talking about today, because we can go deeper than we've ever gone before. Did you know that practitioners are specifically trained to get us into those deep levels of self-awareness? Here's a quote from the Spiritual Principles and Practices class. Practitioners assist us in examining our life in the light of spiritual principles so that we become aware of our inner states, our hidden beliefs, and our patterns of thinking. So we could hire a practitioner to guide us through that process. Now, practitioners pray for free. We all know that. But if we want a guide, we can hire a practitioner and get some very valuable aid and assistance. Self-awareness is the practice that illuminates our alignment with each of our science of mind principles. Self-awareness is also the practice that allows us to feel ever so much more connected with that God within each and every one of us. Self-awareness is the foundation for us being able to make conscious choices. So we do those spiritual practices, we align ourselves with spirit. We embody those qualities of spirit that resonate with us. And then we can make good choices, spiritual discernment in all of our affairs. We know what is ours to do, and we can do it with enthusiasm and vigor. That's how we catch the squirrel. And Ernest Holmes said, "There's something within you that sings the song of eternity. Listen to it." And that is what I want you to listen to today. Go within, listen to that inner call. Go deeper than you ever have before. Ask, what is it within me that wants to be changed? Who I be, what is there in there that wants to emerge and rise ever more victorious than before, different than who and what and I be now? That's the questions we get to ask ourselves today. And then we get to catch the squirrel. I set a trap out for the squirrel, by the way. I'm going to relocate him out to the middle of the desert when I catch him. Anyway, let's pray, shall we? There's a thing, a force, a spirit, a God, whatever we call it. This thing is everywhere present. There is nowhere that God is not. And God is all. Absolutely all. It just is. That thing, that force, that God, not only lives in me, it works as me. It is me. God and I, we are one, and together, because of that oneness, through that oneness, I speak my word. And the word I speak today is this: any inner limitations which are keeping me from my greatest good are now gone. I no longer base today's decisions on yesterday's events. I no longer think the way I used to think. I no longer argue for my limitations. Instead, I live fully and completely in the now. I live fully and completely in the now, full of gratitude for what is, fully expecting my good and fully experiencing all the good that is mine to experience. I live and move in this world with grace and dignity. I have clarity on what is mine to do and what is not. My values and my beliefs are mine, developed by me and nurtured and installed by me. I am a fully realized spiritual human, living large and in charge. I experience all the joy that life has to offer. I am powerful. I am strong. I love life and I love me. And so it is with great gratitude that I release these words into that law, knowing that it has taken them and said a grand and glorious yes, and begun acting on them already, even as I finish. And so I anchor And so it is. Thank you very much.
Wow. I don't know how the rest of you felt, but that just about blew me away. Every sentence was a gem. So thanks so much to Reverend Karen for that. Now it's time to share our abundance. There are multiple ways to give. You'll see it scrolling across the screen. And we invite those present to come forward and place your tithes and offerings in the baskets at the corners of our stage. You know your offerings are essential to our ministries, and we are so grateful for everything that you can share. Please say the giving affirmation with me on the screen. Affirmation of abundance. I am abundant, and I give from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings of spirit are as abundant as the stars, and so I give and receive generously, and so it is. And now for another song from our wonderful musician, Jean.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come and show the way. I believe, I believe, I believe above the storm, the smallest prayer will still be heard. I believe that someone in that great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why. I believe. Thank you. You are most kind.
Thank you, Jean. Beautiful. Please help me bless these offerings. Please, all the offerings that came in via our banks, our internet, however we do it, or the offerings that are here today, and help me bless these. O divine giver of life, we gratefully accept these and all your gifts on behalf of our congregation and its ministry. We honor each gift and giver and declare that our abundance is increased 1,000-fold. We know that's true. Thank you all. And now we're delighted to welcome visitors. If there's anyone new today or you're here for the first time, we invite you to see Carol Ann Armijo, our welcomer, at the back of the sanctuary, who has information and a special gift for you. If you're new to our online service, we welcome you to drop by the center. We would love to meet you. Also, our licensed practitioners are ready to support you with a mini prayer treatment after service. They are wearing purple stoles. Those of us who are here today with our purple stoles, I'm here. I will sit there after the service if anybody wants a treatment. Carol Helms is here and Carmela Herrera. So if you want a mini treatment, see one of us, and we'll be happy to do that. Now, I would love to turn this podium over to Dr. Norm Dawson for announcements.
Thank you, Marilyn. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wow, that was a great message this morning about Catch the Squirrel. And, we're kind of doing the same thing to catching the new minister. And everything that Marilyn said earlier is encapsulated very nicely in detail if you look at the bulletin or the website, and you can find out what we're doing to catch that squirrel, catch the new minister. I forgot my paperwork this morning, so it's all on a nice little phone here. So let me scroll through this real quickly here. So, okay, the Celebration of Life Support Group is still being led by Kathy Mathiasen, and that is for people who want to take a look at coping with grief and personal loss. It's not a therapy session, but you can just drop in anytime you want, Wednesday evening, right here at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and that is a place to go for dealing with coping with grief and personal loss. We're still having that bookstore sale. You know, in the bookstore we got things marked down 30% from the gift items, and we're trying to clear out the inventory to bring some new stuff in here, all kinds of stuff back there that you can pick up here. The announcements are really short today, but I do want to kind of encapsulate and summarize the trifecta that happened, and our co-president, Mark Ayers, kind of wrote this up, but I just wanted to summarize this. But on August 1st, we had what he called the trifecta. What we did on that day is we had an interesting little thing happen where the minister got her time schedules mixed up, and we had the very good fortune to have our new minister, not our new minister, but a new minister, Reverend Kamatara Johnson, who delivered an inspiring message. That was the first item. The second one was right after that. We had a midterm town hall meeting, and that was a great meeting where we just gathered up a lot of information from many different people involved in the process of what's going on here, financial considerations, the other items dealing with the center and how it's working, and the health and well-being of the center. So that was a great second part of the trifecta. And the third part of that trifecta is we had that live auction where we were able to have people giving $1,200 towards things that are going to go to a permanent home now. So that was an interesting little piece in the newsletter bulletin. So you can find out everything that I've talked about here in detail on the newsletter bulletin. And that concludes my Sunday morning announcements.
Thanks, Norm. We're going to close this morning with our benediction by Carol Helms.
What a glorious time together. What a glorious message to carry with us this week. I'm so grateful for this time together. I'm so grateful that the healing starts at my core and I heal from the inside out. I'm so grateful for that truth. I'm so grateful for the principles of science of mind, that we're not stuck with us when we're stuck. We are the ones that have all the power of the universe to say, I'm taking a new direction today. Thank you for the reminder, Reverend Karen. Thank you for the message. Thank you for the encouragement, the reminders that it's within us to change those things in our life that we are not happy with, to find a way to be happy with them, and to glorify the whole system that makes that work. I'm grateful for this message. I'm grateful for this center. I'm grateful for everyone who is a part of it. I'm grateful for the time, talent, and treasure that everyone contributes to this center. Sometimes coming to fill your chair is the most valuable thing in the room because somebody wanted to see you there. There's so many things we can do and that we do without knowing. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that life is good. God is all there is. God is good. And I declare this time together good and very good. And I release us, and I release anything and everything that does not serve God, each other, and ourselves. We deserve better. And that we embrace and accept those things that do serve God, each other, and ourselves. And I call this time good, very good, and ask you to join me, please, and say, and so it is.
I just love Norm's delivery. let him know last time I was here that I appreciated that very much. It's right there. It's with a smile. And it's to the point, and you do a great job. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a